Right everyone, Weapon Collector here. I thought I'd do a video on my crossbow and bow collection. I've been collecting, well, weapons in general for about, well, let's say at least, I'm 30 now, I've probably had weapons since I was about 10, so about 20 years, but seriously collecting for about 15 I'd say, 14 or 15 years. But anyway, I've been collecting weapons for a long time, and part of that is crossbows and bows, so I'll show you my collection now. What I was going to say is I also make some weapons as well, you know, weapons that you can make legally, you know, and yeah, so I make some of those as well. So some of these crossbows you'll see are made, so I'll show you now. Right, here's the crossbows and bows. So I'll just describe them all quickly like this, and I'll show you them all in depth. So we've got a homemade £100 bow there, crossbow there, £150 bought Barnet crossbow, an £80 pistol that I bought, a homemade wristbow, £50, a homemade crossbow stock here that hasn't got the prod on at the minute, and then I've got two homemade bows, but one actually made by myself, that was made by my brother, and a bought bow that my brother bought me as well. Right, I think I'll go over the bought stuff first. Right, so here's one of your standard pistol crossbows you can buy anywhere. They're pretty cheap, cost about £10 to, from between £10 to £20. This one has got an £80 prod on it. That's the foot stirrup, that's to aid cocking it. You put your foot in it and then you pull the string up. You've got a cocking lever there. I'll tell you what these are good for. If you ever want to make your own crossbow, buy one of these for 10 quid, get it cheap as possible. You've then got a prod that you can use. You can use the sights off of it. You then know where to mark for the length of the string, you know, for the draw, because you need to know the distances are right and all stuff like that. So for 10 quid you get all the spare parts to make your own. Alright, so that's the £80 pistol. I'll go over the bought bow now. This is another little cheap bow. I've never actually shot this one yet. I think it's like a junior bow. It's only about £10 draw weight, I think. It's not very powerful, but it's good for practicing. And actually I'll show you the arrows for that. These are the arrows. The arrows are quite expensive themselves, to be honest. Here are the arrows. They're pretty long. I think they're about 30 inches or something like that. These can be quite expensive. 10 of these can cost you more than a very cheap bow, but they're worth getting. The better arrows, you know. Well, saying that, it don't really matter what arrows you get, but right. So now let's do the Barnet Commando 2. This is the Barnet. Oh, let's do a close up. I'll show you the name there. It's just here. Barnet Commando 2 compound crossbow. You'll see that the limbs are different to that of those the little one I showed you. These are two separate pieces with pulleys and strings there. That makes it can be more compact but just as strong. And this one has a cocking lever here, and you'd lay it on the floor, lay these two bits sitting down on the floor upright like that, pull the handle down. This one is £150 draw weight, highly accurate. You know, I can get a grouping like that. I can't remember what distance, about 25 metres away. I can get a grouping like that. I can almost do a bit of the old Robin Hooding, which is hitting one arrow with another. It's that accurate with this telescope sight. Telescope sight on it's nothing special. I think it's just a 4x32. So that is the Bionic Commando 2 crossbow. These are discontinued now, so you can't buy them anymore. Right, I'll go over the bows now. These was all made by my brother John J. Rambo, the bows, the homemade bows. He got his own channel, he shows you how to make bows, got loads of videos on making bows and traps and stuff like that. This one is made of hazel, it is 64 inches and it is 45 pound draw weight at 23 inches. I won't pull it all the way back because I've only just strung it. And with these wooden ones, you're supposed to, you don't want to pull it back straight away because you could break them. You need to give it a bit. But this is a pretty strong bow and it's nearly as tall as me. So that would be virtually a long bow. If it was a couple of inches longer, it would be as tall as me. Right, so that's that one. And then we've got another homemade one here by Malcolm, John J. Rambo. This one is U, and this one is 32 pounds at 23 inches. And this is a takedown bow, which I'll demonstrate in a minute if I can. This one I was cracking a bit when I put the string on, so I want to watch out with this one. This one's got a notch for the arrow there. And what it is, the handle is a tube and another tube that goes inside it. So I'll try and show you that now. If I can get it off without breaking it. Just take the string off now. Right. There. So there's your takedown bow. And you can just wrap it up. And then if you need to transport it or whatever, or if you're out in the wild, that is a lot easier to carry than a large bow. Let's get on to my homemade crossbows now. I'll show you the rifle one first. This is my homemade crossbow, rifle crossbow made from, it's actually basically just plywood, a bit of 8mm flooring in the middle, and some scrap aluminium. The only thing I had to buy was the, well, I didn't have to buy it, but it isn't made, was the prod. So I couldn't get a decent, I couldn't make a decent prod. This is about £100 draw weight, I think, and I'll put some links to all these videos I'm going to describe now. I've got videos to virtually all these crossbows and bows, and there's a series on this one showing the basic making of. It's not a tutorial, but it shows me making this. But you could follow it, and my pistol one is a full, really detailed tutorial for that one, for the pistol one. Yeah, this is basically aluminium and wood, you know, and some bolts and screws, pretty easy to do. That's that one. And then we've got my, this is the pistol crossbow. At the minute I haven't got the prod on it because the prod is on my other one. But I've got this here to sort of demonstrate what it would look like. The prod would go through there, but this was completely homemade. This is the one with the tutorial on it. This one you could put a £50 draw weight prod or £80 draw weight prod. There's a full tutorial on this, and again it's just made of plywood. This is all plywood actually, plywood and aluminium. and yeah, there's a full tutorial, and I'll either add a link here somewhere, or I'll add a load of links in the more info section to the tutorial for this. That's a full tutorial, it shows you everything. Right, then lastly we've got my wrist crossbow, or arm crossbow. This is a £50 draw weight, and this one is strapped to your arm. It's made to be strapped on with a jacket, so it's a bit loose on my arm. And well, I'll show you how you this was Mark 1. I'm going to try and do a version later on that has its own cocking mechanism, so you don't have to take it off, but at the minute you have to take it off. Shouldn't really dry fire things like this, but it doesn't matter. Right, so if you can see this, you'd have the bolt in there, and then all you do is you pull your hand down and it fires. Again, there's videos on this of me shooting it. It's got aluminium arm plate there, made of wood and aluminium again, £50 prod, completely homemade and designed by myself. Yeah. I'm definitely going to do a Mark II version one day, and it will have a cocking mechanism. The reason this one didn't was because when I designed it I didn't factor that in, so I couldn't actually make it after. I couldn't add it on afterwards, because where these screws were, they'd be in the way. It's a pretty simple mechanism. It's just see that there, and that pushes the string up, so it'd be like that, and then when you pull down it pushes it up. That there was a safety, well, not a safety, but it was a backup trigger in case when you tried to pull it down it was too hard. I made it so you could just hit that down and it would shoot. Alright, so that's the Weapon Collector wrist crossbow. I hope you enjoyed my collection of bows and crossbows. One thing I did forget to show you was some of the bolts for the crossbows. That's a bolt for the rifle one. That's the cheap ones. You can get better ones. These are the ones that come with the barnet. These are a lot longer. I can't remember how long this is, it doesn't actually say on it, but this is longer than that other one. I think this one's about 20 inches, this one's about 18. I think, I don't actually know. That's the bolts for the big crossbow. And then the little pistol ones shoot these little pistol bolts. Alright, so that was the collection. I hope you liked it. I'll probably do an entry from my blog for all these, so have a look down there as well. Go to the blog first before you go and have a look at those other videos, and you'll love the blog. If you like my videos and you like my channel, you'll love the blog, because it's just the exact same, you know. In fact, it's got stuff on there that isn't on here. So check that out. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.